Rutland High School Science Fair, and we'll just go right along and check out each individual project. And we're beginning with, what's your name?
Nathan Szymanski.
Nathan Szymanski. Nathan, what year are you in?
I'm a senior.
Senior.
Yep.
And could you tell us about your project?
Sure. Basically, this is a physics project, and we've been assigned to test to see if Newton's second law is correct, actually. So what we did is we went through a series of tests, set up a cart apparatus, and what we tried to do is balance the force of friction. What we did is we dropped a weight to see if it would pull the cart. And what we ended up doing is testing by using a linear regression. Okay, and what we have here is we have the graphs to represent that linear regression, and we plotted the linear regression we plotted the points here, and the linear regression showed us that there was a straight line. Now what we were attempting to do is make this straight line, take the slope of that straight line, which should equal the mass of the cart as we started. And if in fact it did equal the mass of the cart when we started, then Newton's law would be correct. And if our percent error was within 30%, it looked pretty good.
And what did you learn?
Well, we learned that Newton's law was correct. We had like 31% error, so it was a pretty accurate experiment.
I'm pretty impressed.
My project is on the importance of chemicals in time in photography.
Oh, we started.
And I showed many different pictures with skipping chemicals, and there's regular pictures with different times for 50, and you can see the difference of the darkness and lightness. The stop bath is a main chemical. It stops the developing process. And as you can see, it's slightly darker than the regular picture because the developing process didn't stop until I washed it off in the water. Then I went to the fixer, skip the fixer, and have you ever seen an old picture? Well, you know how they're yellow? Well, that's because they had bad fixer back then. And this is good fixer, and I purposely skipped it, and with time, and you can see a difference, and with time, it will turn yellow. And then I skipped. I personally feel that water is very important because can you see the ugly stuff on that?
I see the ugly stuff.
Oh, that's because the chemicals never got washed off, and it's a buildup of chemicals on that. So if you want good-looking pictures, you do not skip the water. This is a photogram. We placed a watch and a ring on the paper, and then we let the light go, and as you can see, since the light never got through the watch and the ring, then it's light around there. It couldn't get through. Even if with a little rubber band, it would not be able to get through. And then I did a test strip. It shows the darkness to lightness. The darkness has about probably 30 seconds, and the lightness has about maybe 5 seconds burning time. I also used a high filter for that because I couldn't get the light through without burning too much. This is a filter. See, they go from dark, which the light can't get through as easily, and then the light gets through very easily. Also, this is what the chemicals are held in. So you don't touch the chemicals, which is very important. You use little prongs to pick them up and to move them from chemical to chemical. And this is how the chemicals come in the beginning. They come and then you dilute them. And the chemicals really smell. They do. And so that's basically my project.
I don't know about you, Brian, but I learned something here. And what's your name again?
Desiree Clark.
Desiree Clark. And are you a senior?
No, I'm a sophomore.
And you're going into photography as a profession?
Actually, I'd like to. I would seriously like to. I learned all this from my dad.
Thanks, Desiree.
Thank you.
And here we have Which Detergent Works Best? This is by Chris Mayhew. And if anybody should know about dirty socks, it's Chris Mayhew. No, just kidding, Chris. I don't know what it is, but he's camera shy and won't explain to us. And we have another camera shy student, but a very worthwhile project. Teens Awareness of AIDS and STDs. That's sexually transmitted diseases. And I don't know anything about it. We have
Cindy McFerrin.
Cindy McFerrin. You wouldn't be a field hockey player, would you?
Yep.
State championship field hockey player?
Yep.
I happen to know that. And what's your project all about, Cindy?
Recycling paper.
Explain it to us.
Okay, you have newspaper chopped up in little squares, soaking in a bucket of water overnight. And then you take that and you put it into the blender and you mush it up until it's like really thick. And then you dump this out into the pan with the screen. And then you let it settle and then you lift up on the screen and then you let the water drain out of it and stick it on a towel and pat it down with another towel and then you flip it and then let it dry.
It's almost like cooking.
It's easy.
Are you interested in the environment and recycling? And
Yeah.
do you plan to go into that when you get out of school?
I don't know. I don't know.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Her name?
Brooke Haley.
Not related to Tom Haley from the Rutland Herald.
No, he's just my dad.
And do you want to explain your project for us, Brooke?
I did how plants respond to different types of music, and I took two plants that were close in size, and they're called Pink Splash, and I played hard rock and country music to them for an hour each day, but with one plant only hearing, like this plant heard the country for an hour each day, and that heard hard rock music for an hour each day. And I recorded the growth rate that they did each day, and it turned out that the country music made the plant grow faster and it was more healthier. And that's pretty much what all that I did.
Country music makes plants grow faster. That's that's interesting. And your name?
Emily St. Peter.
Emily St. Peter. What year are you in, Emily?
I'm a sophomore.
And you want to explain your project for Channel 15?
Well, I did protective cushionings for shipping things, fragile things especially. I got the idea because UPS, when they put it on conveyor belts, they drop off the bottom of conveyor belts. What I did was I took raw eggs and I put them in boxes like this one, and I dropped them from 3 different elevations. I dropped them from 12 feet, and then I dropped it from 21 feet and 9 inches, and then 35 feet, which was off the top of my house. And this is my air cushion, and he died.
Yes, he looks quite dead.
And that's what happened when I dropped it from 35 feet.
That poor egg. You want to get a close-up of that? Yeah, scrambled. So now, wasn't it dangerous on top of your house in this weather?
My dad did it.
Oh, that's okay then.
I'm scared of heights.
So you're into packing, I take it?
Not really.
Just an experiment.
Had to do something for the grade.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyway, see if you can get a close-up of these digits here. I think that they've been cooking too long with the radiation. Where are they? Come here. Come here, you.
Pay back for this.
Your name?
Eileen Dooley.
Let me stand over here, Eileen
If
Dooley.
you have to.
See that. And what is this all about? And what year are you in, Eileen?
We're representing Rutland Regional Medical Center for the School of Radiologic Technology, and I'm here representing the school and telling people that you do need the education that you get in high school, and that it pays off on your further career.
And it's quite a career, radiology, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Lots of openings, I hear.
No, there isn't.
Somebody's been lying to me.
It is, but not in this area, just because we have so many schools around here. Yeah, but it is a great career.
Have you found a lot of interest in it?
A lot of interest in it. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. You get to see people healing. You get to go up into the OR and watch the orthopedic surgeons repair bones. You see one of them with fractures and screws being placed in. This person has a Paget's disease, so that you can see the skull being eaten away.
Now, is there some element of danger being around all the radiation?
No, everyone's leaded, and so they always monitor us with little monitor pads. Close up on this. I know.
So you're safe?
Yes, you're safe.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I get you.
Tom Haley. Tom, is this a difficult job judging?
Actually, it's kind of a nice job because there are a lot of real good, thorough projects here that the students have put a lot of time into. it's nice to get around and see what they've done. A lot of students, the ones I think who are really have the state science fair in mind as their ultimate goal, would like to, put the time in and advance to the state fair. And so some people really have, I think, done some projects here that they've learned from and put considerable time into.
And what criteria are you using in the judging? What are you looking for in the projects?
Well, I think we're looking for their scientific approach, if they prove their hypothesis, did they use enough variables in their experiment to be accurate in attaining the result, that type of thing. Also the visual presentation. I'm sure that just by walking around here and gathering the film, you've already seen that a lot of students just in the artwork and in the visual presentation put a lot of time in. Also, I think when we're judging, we look for the oral presentation. How well do they answer the questions? How well, are they versed in the nuances of their project? And how well are they able to convey what they learned?
Innocent.
And what year are you in?
I'm in the 10th grade.
Look at this. There's some socks over on the other aisle there we could probably get and help with your experiment here. Well, what's this all about?
Well, it's about which bleaching agent works best. We've got 4 non-chlorine bleaches and a chlorine bleach. And we're seeing whether the chlorine bleaches or the bleach or the non-chlorine bleaches work best. We've got the 4 ones here that were like the runners-up, I guess. And then we've got the winner over here, which is the plain ordinary bleach. And ironically, it doesn't say anything about cleaning clothes. And which is even better is it didn't fade. It got the stains out even in the cold water, because we tried hot, warm, and cold water. And the stain came out, let me see, just as good. This isn't on the second one, this is the real stain. It came out better than it did in any of the others in the hot, warm, or cold water. Any of the others. And it didn't fade, which is really good. So.
Well, where did you get the idea for this project?
Well, our teacher gave us these sheets of what to do, and I was just looking through it, and I went to my mom, and I go, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do. And she looks at it and says, well, why don't you do which bleaching agent works best? Because, it runs around our cost, income rates. And, even if the bleaches do cost a lot, we're going to use them later on, so we decided to do this.
Well, thank you. I learned something, and, I do laundry.
Yeah, well.
Thank you very much. Now we have a judge judging. He's in the process of judging this project. He's looking it over, asking questions. And you can see the apprehension in her face. And that's what this is all about here today. Let's move on, Brian. Well, these are 2 mice. Came from the same mom. Big difference. One's smart, one's dumb. That's what this experiment is all about. That's Sam. He's the skinnier one and quicker. So there must be some correlation between weight and speed. And what's your name?
Jacob Roberts.
Jacob Roberts. This is his experiment. They went to hide. This is here. Your name?
Kelly Crowley.
And just quickly, your name?
Jennifer Newfer.
You wouldn't be associated with the state champion field hockey team, would you? No. No. The manager and player. So tell us about your experiment here.
Well, what we did is we proved Newton's second law of motion, and that law is that force equals mass times acceleration. And what we did is we did an experiment that included the components of distance, time, and acceleration. And by finding a certain distance that a cart traveled and dividing it by the time it took, we found its speed. And then by graphing this and taking the slope, we could find its acceleration. And then by graphing the acceleration against the forces that propelled this cart, we could get the slope of that line, which gave us the mass. And since mass is the component in this equation, we could use it to prove the equation because we compared the known mass to the mass that we found. And we did this and came out with a negative 35% error. But because we explained our error and we knew exactly what went wrong, we could conclude that we did prove his second law of motion and that F does equal mass times acceleration.
You put a lot of time and thought into this, didn't you?
Yep, it took a long time, and one of the things that was really difficult is learning how to use like a computer with like the graphs and the spreadsheets and stuff, but it was fun.
So you learned a lot doing this. How long have you guys been working on this project?
Well, we started in class about, I think it was mid-November, but me and Kelly and I have been working with the computers and stuff like that for a couple months, but it was actually due like 2 weeks ago. And then we just put it all together and displayed it in the science fair. So
I'm impressed. Good job, and thank you.
Chuck LaRose.
Chuck, what year are you in?
Senior.
A senior. And tell us a little bit about your project.
Well, what I did was took a couple plants, they were just seeds when I started out, and I put them under two different lights. One's a soft white, and the other one's a black light. And I grew them over a period of 89 days. Each day I'd turn the light on them for 7 hours. I properly watered them. After 89 days, I noticed that the soft white light made the black beat the black one. It was a lot taller.
So it did much better with the soft white. So country music and soft white light, you can have great plants. That's what we learned here today. Thanks.
Thank you.
What are your names?
Megan Canty. Tiffany Stout.
And what year are you in?
I'm a senior.
Senior.
Two seniors. Okay, what is this?
This was a project we did on the deer herd of Vermont, and we found out if
Start with our hypothesis.
Okay,
that's our hypothesis. If the Vermont deer herd are healthier after the Fish and Wildlife took control from the Vermont legislature after 1979, and what we see here is that like we have this chart about like the weight of the bucks and how like this is the first year they took over, and then like every year after that the weight like went up, but some it went down, but mostly it went up. So like it did prove that like the deers were healthier, and that means, and
this one right here shows the reproductive rate of the three year and older for the decades. These 2 decades are the years before the Fish and Wildlife took control, and this is the decade that they had control, and you can see that it went up. Not much, but it was a little increase. And then this one right here, I don't mean to block you, is the decades of the weights for the, right here, this is a decade where the Fish and Wildlife Department had control, and it like skyrocketed from the 2 previous decades. So you can see that with the help, the Fish and Wildlife has helped the deer a lot. And then the final chart we have shows the deer kill in the 5 counties. And the first ones are for 1992, and the second ones are for 1993. And you can see that in 93 it really, but in 92 it was kind of a slow year. And then the antler chart over there shows how big the antlers are, how big these right here got. And you can see when they took control, they really started to grow very rapidly. And then we have examples of them.
This is the one of a deer that's not very healthy, and this one is one of a deer that is healthy, so you can see the difference between the antlers.
And then these are just a couple pictures to show what some of the deers look like. And then we have little pamphlets of what to do when you're alone, the laws, just a guide to show you how to hunt, and then just some more pictures, and then pictures of hunters in Rutland and cities around Rutland who had caught deer this year.
Is weather factored into this?
Yeah, especially this year. I think the deer have had a really hard time finding food, finding places to live, and probably dying off. Some, not a lot, but a majority of them dying because of that.
Yeah, we've had a pretty mild decade. What's that, a 4-pointer there and a spike horn? That's really fascinating. How did you girls pick this project?
Well, our fathers are hunters, and before we did this experiment, we really didn't like the fact that they were hunters. So with that, we took this idea and found out that we really didn't mind as much before as we do now. 'Cause right now, we're more apt to let them go without saying what a Bambi killer, and so we've learned a lot from this experiment. So it was a good thing to do.
So you're not against hunting anymore, and you think the deer herd is being well managed?
Yes, very much.
Well, that's good news. Thanks, girls.
No problem.
Also very interesting. Your name?
Brendan Murphy.
And what year are you in, Brendan?
I'm a senior here at Rutland.
Survey the effects of marijuana. And how did you pick this project?
Now, we were curious, Jeremy Wortman and I, we were curious as to whether people who had smoked marijuana were more aware of the harmful effects due to it. We figured, we had thought that the people who smoked less marijuana would be more aware of the harmful effects, being one of the reasons why they would choose not to. Now, what we found was actually that we were wrong, that we did a survey of students between the ages of 13 and 17, and we found that of the people, we surveyed 200 students, of those people, 40% had tried it, and 22% had tried it within a month, and 9% tried it on a near daily basis. And we found that the people who smoked it on a more daily basis seemed to have more in-depth knowledge as to the harmful effects of it. Now that completely threw away our hypothesis. We figured that there must be other reasons for why people would be smoking marijuana, namely stress from school, peer pressure. For popularity. We compared our results with a survey we found in Encyclopedia, which was from 1985. Now our statistics were a little bit higher and more people trying it. Now that might have just been, it was such a closed survey. It was right here in the school, which would I think would throw off the survey, because it's just the same group of people together, so more people are aware of each other's doing what the other people are doing.
So, a beautiful project. This is probably my favorite project in this whole science fair. Your name?
My name is Katie Valentine.
Kate Valentine. What a coincidence. It's my daughter. Could you explain your project to us, Kate?
Sure. What I did is I tried to compare and contrast the way males and females perceive optical illusions, and I developed a survey, and in my survey I just asked, I have these 4 different optical illusions here on this, actually it's a placemat, and I asked 25 males and 25 females to look at, for example, number 1, and I would ask them, I'd start timing as soon as I asked them tell me when the boxes in the circle change dimension, and once they said, okay, they changed dimensions, I would stop timing. And what I did is, for example, this is the males, so 25 males for each section. Once there's 4 parts, and I just calculated the seconds, and then at the end I added up all the seconds and took the mean average, and this is what I have here. And as you can see, there aren't really any big significant differences between males and females. My hypothesis was proven incorrect, because I thought there would be a significant difference in either how long they took or whether or not they perceived them different at all. And so that's what I came up with. I had 4 different examples, as I said, so after all, they didn't see them any differently. There were a lot of differences, but it wasn't between the males and females, different sexes. It was just among the 2 sexes themselves.
So can we conclude, Kate, that men and women see things the same?
From my experiment, yes.
I don't know about that. But Kate, thank you very much. This is a beautiful, beautiful project, and I hope you win awards.
Thank you very much.
It's several field hockey players, and we need some equal time here. We have some football players as well. Your name?
Matt Walterscheit.
And?
Billy Drew.
Matt Walterscheit and Billy Drew. Sports fans know those names. And I just heard something that's very impressive. Matt was accepted to play in the Shrine game. Is that right, Matt?
Yeah, I just heard about it Saturday.
It's quite an honor.
Thank you.
Well, you want to tell us about your project?
Basically.
Let me go over on this side here. And you can step aside. Let him. No, I'll go over on the other side here.
Okay.
You come over here.
Okay.
And I'll stand here.
All right. Basically, we thought with all like the energy enhancers in the GNC stores, we thought that these two right here would be like have the most like ingredients better for you and better results if you take them. And so we took 8 of our friends who work out with us, and we figured out, and then we asked them to answer some questions after they took it, and they basically said that ginseng was better for them, and the other one, Yohimbe, had like side effects that they didn't like, or I don't know. That's basically it.
They liked the ginseng better.
Yeah, that's right.
These were athletes?
Yeah, people who lift and stuff and play sports.
And Bill, what was your part in this project?
Yeah, well, basically did together, but mainly what this stuff is, like Matt said, it's an energy enhancer, and you can use it. It's mainly for people who play sports and exercise, but it's also for elder people who just need more energy to get by or something. I don't know, it just gives them more energy. And ginseng.
Your name?
Cara Bates.
And what year you were in, Cara?
I'm a senior.
Okay, explain to us why Newton was wrong.
Well, we did this whole project to test his second law of motion, which is force equals mass times acceleration. And we did out all the calculations and we did out all the graphs, and our percent error came out to be 79%. So
that's not good for Newton.
That's definitely not good. It should only be like maybe 5 or 6%.
Have you seen the other projects that said he was correct?
Yes, we have.
Where did they go wrong?
I don't know. It was
Drunken mice. What's your name?
Nicole Semp.
Nicole, what year are you in, Nicole?
I'm in 10th grade.
10th grade. Why did you get the mice drunk?
Well, I only got one of them drunk. I did it to get them, or test the reaction in the time when I put them through a maze.
Now, are these mice related?
I didn't ask when.
Didn't ask?
Test, so I didn't.
Do you see a resemblance, or?
No, because one's black and one's white, so I don't know.
Oh, I see. So, okay, what did we learn? And first of all, where'd you get the alcohol?
My dad, he had it.
And he knew about that?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And what did we learn from getting one mouse drunk and keeping one sober?
That the reaction time was different, and sometimes when I put them through the sober one, he knew that there wasn't a direct way out because I put something at the end, so he would just kind of just stand there, but because he knew there wasn't a way out.
The chemicals. And what's your name?
Jason Beerley.
Jason, what year are you in?
I'm a senior.
Senior. Okay, tell us about your little project here.
All right, what I'm doing is testing chloride levels on East Creek. Don't even think about it, Nicole. Wait, see, chlorides in the water are chloride ions, which is Cl-1. What chlorides are usually used as is they are a good indicator.
Nicole, behave yourself.
They're a good indicator of other pollutants in your water, especially leaking septic systems and salts from the roads getting into the streams. So, in other words, if the salt from the roads, gets into the water, it also means that other pollutants that came from the cars that saturated into the snow is also getting into the river. So, what biologists use.
Now, one quick question: was Newton right?
According to our results, he was not right.
He was incorrect. That's 2 for, 2 against. Well, they're wrapping things up here, and the other Newton project is gone. So we have a tie. We'll never know whether Newton was correct or not. And maybe it's best that way. Maybe we should let it rest. But it's been a fascinating fair. the 4th annual science fair at Rutland High School. This is Rutland Channel 15. Thank you, Brian Mayhew, for running camera, and I'm Michael J. Valentine. Bye.